How many men would remain in love if sex was off the table due to illness or disability? Yep. My wife had cancer for 2 years. I fed her, bathed her, cleaned up after her, wiped her butt. I did everything. Of course there was no sex. I'd do it all again to have her back on earth with me. Been mad in love with people that didn't really get me going. And I've been with people that turn me on out of my mind. Who I didn't really care for that much. I think it's about how much people mix or separate those. Some people keep those separated. Others can't comprehend love without attraction. Been there. Done that. My first wife was diagnosed with pulmonary hypertension back in 2004. Her condition worsened a lot faster than anyone thought it would. Even her doctors were surprised at how fast things were going downhill. She had to be on oxygen 24 hours a day and struggled every time she had to adjust herself into a more comfortable position while sitting down. She required almost round-the-clock care after a while. I carried her to the bathroom for her to use and cleaned her up when she was done. I showered her. In the mornings, I would carry her to the living room so that she could watch television on the couch and left her with snacks until I could come home from work at lunchtime to get her to the bathroom and make her lunch. The kids would make sure she was okay after school until I got home from work. It was a constant effort to make sure that she was comfortable. Needless to say that with her in such a fragile state, sex was literally the furthest thing from my mind. She joked once and told me that I should go and find someone that wasn't so sick. I told her that I would care for her until she got better and then I'd have my midlife crisis and find a girlfriend half my age. We both knew that she wasn't going to get better and that I'd care for her until her last breath. And then care for the kids after that. A 3 to 5 year before needing a double lung and heart transplant diagnosis pancaked into burying her 11 months after her initial diagnosis. I regret nothing about the time spent without sex. Not a damn thing, and would have gone as long as I needed to. Any man that says that sex is that important is a lying sack of shit. Leppy le pew. I will always miss you no matter what goes on my life. I will always wonder what would have happened if you were still alive. I hope in some small way that I've made you proud of how I raised the kids. They're fairly well-rounded, independent adults that deserve a medal for surviving living with me as a single parent. I have severe endometriosis and it caused me to have a partial hysterectomy at 27. Which is super early for most women. Due to month-long periods and pain. Sex before the surgery was excruciating and it took a toll on the relationship. But my boyfriend stuck it out and was there for me. Even now sex is painful but manageable. We had to have a serious discussion because I know sex is an important factor to him, and I told him I wouldn't be upset if we had to end things because I wouldn't want him to be unhappy or have resentment. Well, we are still together and we are working through it, but it takes honest communication. My ex-husband said no. I just have an autoimmune disorder. Sex wasn't even off the table. Illness was the deal breaker. Don't worry. It was for the best. Never. My wife is my queen. Till death do us part. I haven't been intimate with my wife in over a decade. She had a tumor that ate away a vertebrae, surrounded and pinched her spinal cord. She now has permanent nerve damage from the chest down, a fused spine, and limited mobility issues. At her worst, we were having to use a medical lift to get her in and out of bed to a wheelchair or commode. And her current best, she can walk 100 feet unassisted before her legs move to jelly. I can't touch her much because she describes it as never-ending pins and needles from the chest down. If she touches herself she can tolerate it. But I touch her, it registered as pain. She was given a prognosis of 2 weeks to 10 to 20 years. She lost her job. And every professional decision I've had to occur was make sure we had enough to put food on the table. This all happened when our kids were 8, 4, and 4. Now, our eldest is accepted into a handful of quality colleges. And the younger 2 are well on the same track. For the longest time I've been more like a single parent to 3 kids and having a roommate that you're totally okay taking care of hand and foot and being a slob and envier cleaning up after herself. It's totally helped that the kids help out more as they've gotten older. But I want them to have normal lives too. We make it work. In our own way. Each day as a gift. Sometimes good. Sometimes bad. But she's still my best friend. The mother to my kids. And my confidant in any and all things. Do I regret giving my life to her? Yeah. Some days I do. Everything I do comes with about 10 things I need to check for her to make sure she's set up. Other times I see couples fight over shit and seen family members get divorced because it got too hard, and I'm just thankful I can make her, our family comfortable enough that at the end of the day we're happy, hugging, and sharing a laugh over the dinner table and think I am the richer by far. Erectile dysfunction ruined a 10-year relationship. It started when I turned 40. We had a terrific sex life before it started. She held on for a few years, which was admirable. But it just degraded to the point where we never even touched anymore. She came home from work one day and kicked me out. Never saw or spoke to her again. She replaced me almost immediately. As an ace, it's reality. I have a good sex drive. But other factors would be more important to me in a marriage. I could even marry an ace woman if she had personal qualities that I admire and wanted children. What I am saying is that I can adjust my sexual needs to the relationship when I love the woman and would not go outside for sex. I don't think a lack of sex will break down a strong relationship, but a lack of honesty will. This is a great question. With my girlfriend I currently have, I felt like I would never leave her due to sex being cut off. She is the mother of my child, which is the greatest gift for a parent. She has always been extremely supportive in everything that I do. Leaving her would just be absolutely heartless. I think if your partner is experiencing something traumatic enough to become disabled, there's a lot more going on in the relationship than just lack of sex. For many men, they were taught that the only time it was appropriate to express affection or vulnerability was when having sex. So anytime they crave those very human things, they go for sex. For them, no sex equals no vulnerability or intimacy. If that is going to be long-term, then those men may very well leave. But it's also true that men are less often expected to take on a caregiver role. And so when confronted with things like this, may also be less willing to take it on for that reason. Definitely an interesting question. In terms of the metaphysics of love, part of being in a committed relationship is having different valuations for the multi-dimensions of love, i.e., physical, emotional, spiritual, etc. But a big part of that is managing expectations, healthy compromise, and an intimate knowledge of your partner, physically and emotionally. Is it true that men value the physical connection more than an emotional one? Perhaps. I don't think you'll get a good metric from this post. What is common among couples is that a strong connection becomes less and less about the physical as the relationship progresses longitudinally, and more about a strong emotional connection. Coincidentally, the stronger the emotional bond, the better the physical. So sex still is actually more frequent for married millennials versus single. Might have a lower frequency anecdotally, but rates more satisfying. Tough question to answer, really. If all one values is sex, then any impediment to that would certainly terminate a relationship. I would have been more likely to leave someone years ago when I was younger. But now in my 40s, sex isn't the end-all be-all that it used to be. That said, it's still important for a relationship. I would try to make it work. But love can require intimacy for some people. It can be an affirmation of love. So it can definitely change how you feel if you can't express it. I think this narrative that all men only want a woman to fuck and not a woman to grow old with is insane. If you love someone, you aren't leaving. You communicate. You find a solution. You find middle ground. We've been married 30 years. No sex for the last 5. Menopause just shut down any interest she had in sex. I will occasionally get a hand job if I beg for it. I ain't cheating and I ain't leaving. I fantasize about cheating. But I did that once early in our marriage and it devastated her. I couldn't do that to her again. I got sick at 34 and was put on meds for about 6 months. Not only did my sex drive disappear completely, but I had tons of other uncomfortable side effects. And gained a lot of weight. Mostly water retention. I'm certain not having sex was not easy on my so. But I think the hardest part for him was seeing me so ill. He loves me and was willing to wait and was still taking excellent care of me.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. TooAfraidToAsk is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.